Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. I am going to tell you a personal story this evening about getting my biometric ID photo. Yes, it took me by surprise, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to give you my story in just one moment. Before I do that, I want to bring you a message from the sponsor of this evening's video. And I also want to hear from you. Have you gotten a biometric ID? This is not the same as the real ID. I should say a biometric ID photo. I'm going to tell you the whole story in just a moment. Let me share my screen. I've been telling you also about ketowithpeggy.com. This is a product that I use and I love, and I hope that you will as well. And a recent survey reveals that if your New Year's resolutions revolve around weight loss, well, half of all Americans are with you. One of the easiest ways that I recommend jumpstarting your New Year's resolution is with this amazing keto powder. This substance helps you tap into many of the weight management benefits of being in what's called ketosis, but even without the need for the extreme carb restriction or having to go through the other side effects of keto. So I'm impressed because when I first started taking this, within the first week, I noticed a significant difference in regulating my appetite and cravings. So I want you to try this as well. And I want you to experience the same amazing benefits that I've had. So you can get your order today for up to 51% off. Plus, you can receive several free bonuses before their New Year's sales end. And I want you to go to ketowithpeggy.com. You can also expand the description box below by clicking on that more button, and you'll see the link to www.ketowithpeggy.com. And then you can get ready to look your best this new year. All right, friends, speaking of looking your best, I did not look my best yesterday when I went to the drugstore to get a photo for my passport. Let me know in a comment below if you've recently gotten a passport, if you have a valid passport, if you've never had a passport, if you would like to get a passport. And hubby and I decided that we needed to renew our passports because they expired in 2021. And you know, and I know that nobody was flying internationally in 2021. In fact, before I go any further, let me tell you a story of when I lived overseas in a third world country, Morocco. And I remember hearing from my students, I was teaching English at the time for the Peace Corps, and they were just so eager to get their passport, and passports were very few and far between. You had to have a reason for traveling out of the country. You couldn't just apply for a passport and get it, you know, kind of like we would just get a driver's license in the state that we live. It is very, very difficult, at least at that time. I imagine it's still the same. Let me know if you know somebody that lives in Morocco or a third world country. Don't even like that moniker, third world country. Developing country, let's just call it Morocco. When I lived there, of course, a lot of the things that we're experiencing now, I experienced then in terms of your movement being restricted. And when I moved from one city to another, I had to have permission. I had to register with the police department, all those things that I would write home about in letters, because we didn't have the internet. Well, we might have had the internet back then, but we didn't have email and all of that. And my friends and family would say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're living in a country like that with so few freedoms. And one of the few freedoms, the restraint on freedom for Moroccans, was the ability to travel. You could not leave that country, as I say, unless you had a valid reason. Let's say you were a business person or you had family in other countries. It was very, very, very difficult to get a passport. And what they would do is just put you in line, and, you know, years and years would go by. You would never really hear back. So that was one of the ways that people would be strangled by the bureaucracy. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And I remember going to a bureaucratic administrative agency at one point because I needed to get my own green card stamped, literally stamps. You would buy stamps and the stamps would go on the green card, and then they would stamp it and sign over it. And I remember one time going there and the person said, well, I can't help you because the fellow that makes the photocopies of these documents isn't here. And I'm like, well, can't you make the photocopies of the documents? Oh, no, it's his job. So these government bureaucratic jobs where like one person, that's their job, is to make photocopies. And I always got a chuckle out of that, but it made me realize how bureaucratic our government these days is anyway, and it's difficult to get things done, especially for those of you that are still waiting on your religious exemption from your employer, and they'll put you in that bureaucratic maze as well. I do have remedies and resources for you, so please be sure that you check out my religious exemption playlist. All of the videos are clearly titled, so if you are learning about how to express your sincerely held beliefs, or maybe you have to do an appeal, or maybe they're asking you ridiculous questions, or maybe you've gotten so far where you had to put in a complaint with the EEOC, I have explicit separate videos for each of those. So it's time for you to roll up your sleeves, dive in, and learn about your rights. And I want to help you every step of the way. So it was so interesting to me in Morocco that people couldn't get a passport very easily. And I would think, gosh, it's great, because in the United States, you just apply for one, you get your picture taken, you fill out the form, and a couple of weeks later, it arrives in the mail. At least that's how it was for me. My first international trip, aside from traveling to Mexico and Canada, was to Europe back in the 1980s. Yes, I was fresh out of college, and I traveled to Europe with my girlfriend. And so we applied for our passports, and it was very simple. You actually went to the post office, and they took a photo, and then you did your passport application there. So I've had a passport for years. But in 2021, when it expired, I thought, what's the use? I'm not going to be traveling overseas. I'm certainly not going to be becoming a human pincushion or subjecting myself to any sort of nasal rape, so to speak. Yeah. Or assault. Why would I even do that? But then I realized that it's a good idea to have a passport now, because they might start tightening the screws, just like I experienced in Morocco. Let me know if you have had any problems getting your passport. So because my passport was only expired a few years ago, and not, more than 10 years ago, I could just send in my old one with a photo and the application to make sure that none of my information has changed. And that brings you up to the story of my biometric ID. Oh my gosh. I wish that you had been there with me and my husband, because I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Let me back up just a little bit by reminding you that I did a video about the real ID, and the real ID is that driver's license that they now have put off. What really bothers me about the real ID is that it's coming from the Department of Homeland Security, and they really do not have any authority in terms of what each state does in each state. So in California, I have the right to get a driver's license, and I did, and I did not get the real ID. I got the regular driver's license, because your driver's license is regulated by your state. I'm sure there's some information that is probably universal in the United States, but I don't like this idea of the Department of Homeland Security interfering with what's going on in each state. So I did a whole video about that, and I'm not saying it's because of my video, but it was interesting that a few days later, the information came out from the Department of Homeland Security saying that that real ID was going to be put on hold, I think, until 2025. Anyhow, so this is why I was completely taken by surprise. I went to get my photo done at the drugstore, and there was a very nice gal, and my husband goes first, and you're standing in front of a white screen. And she said, "Oh, no, you can't smile." Excuse me? You can't smile. Well, telling me personally not to smile is like telling me not to breathe, which is what they also tried to tell me and you and the world. And this also brought me back to Morocco, because students would have their ID photos, and the students were never, ever smiling. And when we would take a group photo on my old Instamatic camera, again, before cell phones and all of that, none of the students were smiling. And I would kind of rib them a little bit and say, "Come on, life's not that bad. Let's have a smile." It was in their culture. Excuse me. And I think a lot of cultures are perhaps similar in, traditional cultures, maybe outside of the United States, where having a serious face in a photo means that you are showing a degree of respect and reverence for the occasion, because it's a very solemn occasion, getting your picture taken, and you should be serious. And I remember hearing people in England saying that Americans always look kind of silly because they're always going around with a big smile on their face, where I think a smile is very welcoming and warm and encouraging and friendly and appealing and inviting and kind and all those things. I don't think it's goofy or silly. I like it. And I live my life smiling. And I actually don't care what the British think or the Moroccans or the passport photo people. So she said, oh no, I have strict guidelines. And I don't really want to show my photo because there's some weirdos out there that might use it for something. But anyway, you can see I'm actually wearing the same blouse because I like this blouse and I wanted it for my passport photo. And she said, oh no, we have a whole I know it's very hard to see. I'm going to read it to you. We have a whole list of items that you have to follow in order for us to take your photo. And I'm just, you know me, I'm rolling my eyes going, you got to be kidding me. You think the government is going to tell me not to smile in my passport photo? And she said, I know. And I said, well, I tell you what, I'm going to smile anyway. And if they don't like it, they can send it back. So that's how the afternoon started. And she took the photo, and it took a little while for it to be developed. And my husband did like a half little smirk smile. She said, you can't show your teeth. You got to be kidding me. Number one, I'm so bent out of shape because who is the government to tell me what kind of expression I can have? And the other thing that really bothered me is, do we have to live in a dour, depressing, culture now? You can't even smile. I've noticed that all of these restaurants, at least in California, it's some kind of fad that they're all being painted black. Well, there's nothing more dreary and uninviting to my point of view than to going to a restaurant where every single thing is painted black. I'm talking about the address on the building is painted black. The sign is painted black. The walls are painted black. You go inside, it's black. It's like, what am I, in a funeral home? So this whole trend of black and dreariness and all of the rabbit hutches where they don't have any windows and, what's passing for art these days. Like, I don't want to be subjected to this dreary, unsmiling, unfriendly, hostile, dark atmosphere. That was the frame of mind I had when I went in for my passport photo. So it was my turn to go up. I smiled. She took a photo and I can see her processing it on there. I'm like, oh, I really like that photo. Once in a while you get a good photo of yourself. I'm like, oh, that turned out really good. And we're waiting and waiting. And she comes back and she says, it's been rejected. Excuse me, rejected? So it turns out there is an entire list, and you can see this is called Certificate for Biometric Passport Photo. Little did I know I had signed myself up for a biometric passport photo, and I'm going to go on the travel.gov website to show you exactly what is required, but I'll read it for you right here. So it's all done electronically, and here's what is checked off: your image size, the height and width ratio, the correct head size, the position of your head in the photograph, the image brightness, the image color balance. All right, here we go. That all sounds fine. They need to be able to see you clearly. All right, eyes open. Okay, that makes sense. Eyes are looking straight ahead. Now, I did a little more research and I found out that they do retina scanning. Now, I've had a detached retina and I've had surgery on my retina, and I don't want any retina scanning or any of that whatsoever, which is why at the airport, when I came back prior to 2020, we had a trip in 2019 and they had these biometric face scanners. And I'm like, I'm opting out. And I totally did. And I would not do that. Okay, eyes looking straight ahead. Are you ready? Mouth closed and not smiling. Yes. Welcome to the Orwellian, culture that we're living in. Okay, eyeglasses glare not present. I took my glasses off, and then the horizontal and the vertical face position has to be level. So I did not know that I was participating in a biometric passport photo. I have a certificate of the biometric passport photo, and as I say, I have my photo there. And I thought, so when I had to redo the photo, there was a very nice fellow there. I said, look, I am doing this non-smiling photo under duress. I just want you to know that. And I kind of am telling it to the drugstore, whoever was there in line. I'm like, this is under duress. I do not consent to not smiling. And he said, I totally understand. I agree with you. This is all out of hand. And the fact that he empathized with me and he validated my feelings really went a long way, so that I just wasn't going along willingly. And I'm telling you, I snuck in a little smirk. I was sending out the image of, I am doing this against my consent, and I do not agree to not smiling. And so I'll take a look at my picture. Was kind of like this. Like, I can't even do it. Kind of like that. There is an expression in Arabic that goes, hofik. And it's exactly what you think it means. And that was what I was saying to the government. I was giving them a big old hofik. All right. That's in Arabic. Fill in the blank and give me your translation for what you think that means. So I was stunned. So I came home and I did a little research, because you know me, I like to do the research. So let's do this. I'm going to hop right on over, and we're going to take a look at biometrics. Here we are, the official website of the United States government, Homeland Security. Biometrics are unique physical characteristics such as fingerprints that can be used for automated recognition. All right, this was not a fingerprint. They don't ask for fingerprints on your passport photo or your passport. At the Department of Homeland Security, biometrics are used to detect and prevent illegal entry into the U.S. Well, let's take a look here, shall we? Oh, you mean like this illegal entry into the U.S.? Are they doing biometrics on all these people? Do they all have their biometric certificate of biometric ID passport photo? Did they scan their retinas as they were coming across? And it looks like actually I don't know what that photo is, but it certainly looks like it's our border crossing people helping them. So, it was also pretty funny. One of the items said, if you're doing your photo and you're wearing the suffocation device, you have to take it off before your photo. Oh, no. If you're making me wear, I've never done it, but if it were someone doing it, I would say, oh, no, you made me wear it. I'm not taking it off. All right, look at this. So do you think all of these individuals have their biometric ID photo? Do you think they are getting that photo when they enter the United States illegally? Now, listen, I'm all in favor of immigration. Actually, I'm not that in favor of immigration. I think we have plenty of people in the United States. And fix your own country. Oh, did I say that out loud? Yeah, I think I said that out loud. Seriously. You're coming to the United States. Can you fix your own country? We got problems here as well. But I will say that throughout my career, I've taught so many immigrants to the United States. That's what I did, is I taught English as a second language. I trained teachers how to teach English as a second language. And I am all in favor of going through things legally. So don't get me wrong. But the point I was making was they are putting me through the ringer through taking my non-smiling biometric photo. Meanwhile, people are just flooding in. I find I'm spitting. I'm so angry. I find that quite, what's the word? Yes, hypocritical. All right. So let's go back to this crazy biometrics here from the Department of Homeland Security. Can't wait to see your comments here. All right, here we go. So it's used to prevent illegal entry into the United States, grant and administer proper immigration benefits. Now, why would an immigrant get benefits? Just asking. Have they paid their taxes? Just asking. Vetting and credentialing, facilitating legitimate travel and trade, enforcing federal laws, enabling verification for visa applications to the U.S. All right, here we are. I think this might be slightly different, but I did do some research to find out about this word and where it came from. And then let's do this. We'll go to the United States Passport Service. It's travel.state.gov. And here we go. Passport photos. You must provide one photo with your passport application. Shoot, I sent in my passport, my old passport, with a big old smile on the photo. So I can't even show that to you because I had to send that in with my application and the new non-smiling photo. So here we go. Submit a color photo taken in the last 6 months. Use a clear image of your face. And then do not use filters. Have someone else take your photo. No selfies. Take off your eyeglasses. Use a white or off-white background. Now we go a little farther And here's the thing about the suffocation device. When someone takes your passport photo, you must remove your face covering. No, you said we had to wear it. Don't take it off. All right. And then it says, here we are, pose and expression. Have a neutral facial expression with both eyes open and mouth closed. That is a change, my friends. That is a change. And you cannot wear glasses. Taken in clothing normally worn on a daily basis. You cannot wear a hat or head covering. If you do wear a hat or head covering for religious purposes, submit a signed statement that verifies that the hat or head covering in your photo is a part of traditional religious attire worn continuously in public. Okay, let me just say that I am going to use that statement from the government about a signed statement saying this is a part of your attire. So what you see right now is my religious attire. I don't cover my face. Hashtag never have, never will. I worship God by breathing oxygen. He, in his word, tells us to stand before the Lord with our face unveiled and thus increase our glory in him. And it also says in the Bible, don't fear their faces. Oh my gosh, there's so many about the only ones that cover their faces are prostitutes and those who hide from God in shame. So no, this is my religious attire right here. And I love that you only need to sign it, that you don't need to go through the firing squad like people have to do at their companies illegally and without authority, I might add. So that's my story of the biometric ID. I was completely caught by surprise. What I'm really surprised about is that the passports don't require a fingerprint. You would think that a fingerprint would be a part of your passport, wouldn't you? I find that very strange. Now, no. Before you ask, I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm not going overseas, but I want that passport. It's good for 10 years. And who knows what's going to happen over the next 10 years. So I would recommend everybody get your passport now in case you need it for any eventualities. That is part of being prepared. So I have all of my documents up to date. I would like to encourage you to do the same. And let's see your comments here. Great to have you, everybody. Let's give a big shout out to our moderators here. We've got Rhonda and Valerie. Really appreciate you being on board. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you, friends, before I take a look at your comments, is some of you were asking me again about the program that I have, How to Win in Court. So let me take you right on over. This is something that I have been studying. It has helped me tremendously. And you just go to thehealthyamerican.org. The link is for you below. In fact, the link for How to Win in Court is for you below. And I would like you to click through here. And this is the program that I have used to prepare for my own court hearing. Yes, I have an attorney. Having an attorney doesn't mean that you don't need to know about the court procedures, about evidence, about motions, about all of that. You need to be prepared. So thank you, everyone. Let me know also in a comment below if you've taken that program. It is like getting a law school degree in a weekend. You can get through that course in a weekend. It's so well laid out. And I've had Dr. Graves, the author of this program, who is a retired attorney, and he's so funny because he laughs about law school. He said, I can't believe they made me take an entire semester on evidence when there's only, I think it's 19 rules of evidence. And you can learn it like I just can teach it to you right now. So he is so straightforward, cut and dried. He's a very good teacher. Everything is spelled out for you. So I encourage you to invest in that program. It'll save you $100,000 over the price of going to law school, plus all of the time, effort, and energy. So if you are interested in at all, even if you don't have any court cases coming forward, if you have loved ones that are struggling with, child custody issues or property issues or what have you, it really prepares you to understand what's going on. All right, now let's go to your comments because I want to hear if any of you have done this crazy biometric ID photo. It was one of those things where I was completely caught by surprise. And part of me is like, you know what? I'm using a camera right now. I'm on a cell phone. I have my computer. I'm on Facebook. I'm not really on Facebook that much anymore, but I'm on YouTube. If the government wants to do a biometric scan of my face, they have so many opportunities. Now, I realize not everybody is in the public eye as I am, but I feel like, you know what? I just have to determine, to me, it's more important to have a passport and be able to leave this country if I need to. And here we are. Let's see what you have to say. Kat has not been on an airplane since the 90s, never even took the shoes off. So the other thing I'm going to have to do if I'm going to fly is apply for that TSA Fast Pass, where you don't go through the, scanner and you go through the old metal detector. You don't have the physical assault on your body, the groping and the sexual assault. It's quite out of control here. Yes, Deborah says, can't smile. It's a bunch of nonsense. Why would that be? I don't understand how the smile couldn't be read by all their computers and everything. Very, very strange. Terry says they tell you not to smile when you get your driver's license. I've always smiled on my driver's license. Maybe that's just in your state. We Need Peace says the real ID is very insulting, and I have not gotten that either. I'm wondering if that real ID is not going to go forward. Valerie says not smiling would put her on the defensive. That's exactly how I felt. I just felt like, who are you to tell me my facial expression? And then your facial expression, of course, has an impact on your emotions. The very times when I don't feel like smiling is when I smile to actually create the chemical flow and the chemistry in my body so that I actually feel better. Smiling for me is one of those things that makes me instantly feel better. Eric says okay, this is really interesting. Have you had this conversation with someone about not using a driver's license? I think I'll have to do a video on that, where let's not get into that right now, but let's do an entire video where you tell me why you are not using a driver's license. And I would love to hear all about that. I told you I just got mine. I don't want to be pulled over. I travel on city, county, and state roads. So I'm fine with that personally. I know some of you have a different view, and I'm interested in your view. Okay, let's see. Jam said the same thing happened. And Jam argued with the person who said they weren't allowed to take the photo. I feel this. And then Jam went elsewhere and had no problem. Well, I think that's great. I couldn't even get past their own certificate of passport photo. It wouldn't even take it. And I was completely just taken by surprise. So, all right, friends. Well, AI can't ID you when you can't smile, Watcher says. I love that. Yeah, you guys understood exactly what Hofik means in Arabic. You got it. It's nice that I can use these words from other languages. So tarbuk is another one, and that means hogwash. All right. A bunch of tarbuk sounds exactly what it is. All right, friends, I'm going to sign off for now. Thank you for being on board with me this evening. Always great to see you. I am trying out a new camera and lighting and the microphone. I'm still kind of dialing it in. So you may see some variation from time to time. I'm doing my best here, and I appreciate all of you. And remember, I'm always over at thehealthyamerican.org. And if you do want to support me, you can expand the description box below, and I have links to other programs and products, and that way you get something for your support. Those of you that have donated to the Healthy American that are over at peggyhall.tv, remember this Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific, we are doing our private webinar live stream where you get to ask me and Pastor David anything that's on your mind. It is a private program just for you, and that is our thank you for your support. We want to support you as well. All right, friends, if you are on peggyhall.tv or a supporter, you will get an email with all of that information, so you'll know how to log on. And otherwise, signing off for now, friends. Always great to have you, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming video.